is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 118. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, a.k.a. Lee James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew Easy, a.k.a. Easterdamus, a.k.a. Pap E. O'Daniel, a.k.a. The Fashionista, a.k.a. Chili Willy, a.k.a. Joe E. Chestnut, a.k.a. Eon Stonkel. And as of last week, world's biggest Mark Eaton historian. It's Ian Michaud, everybody. E, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. Happy Valentine's Day. I wrote this little poem here for you that I want to say
what do you got?
Right here on the pod. Roses are red, violets are blue. There's no one I'd rather do this pod with than you.
Ah, how nice. How nice.
It's not bad.
I can feel the love.
Yeah, the love is in the air. I'm feeling good, man. Had that little scrimmage today, preseason game, got that action in. So looking forward to chatting about that. I know we have the introduction of the 2024 nonsense.
Yes, indeed.
It's a momentous occasion. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I feel much better about my prop picks this year. My book got crushed last year pretty good. So we're back, baby. We're in business.
Yeah, you mentioned not just the preseason match from today. We'll recap the Super Bowl Sunday matchup against the LA Galaxy, which we got to watch on the club's YouTube channel. We've got two new players to talk about as well, and of course a couple things in between. Greatest keeper in the world, last business day, the nonsense, like you said, a little bit of MLS news sprinkled in there as well. Before we get into everything today, take 5 seconds, if you would, for us. Rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Help us grow the channel in that fashion. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit that thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the crumbs of the North End. And of course, maybe you're going out to the jersey release party on Thursday. That might be tonight when you're listening to it. Maybe you're going out to Verde Hill. All of your Austin FC friends are coming back into your life. It is that time of the year. Make sure you mention the North End Podcast to all of your Austin FC friends. Any and all of that you would do for us, we would greatly appreciate. Let's start off with that matchup with the Galaxy this past Sunday, because this is a little bit of preseason for us. We got to watch the match. Mm-hmm. We got to take some actual notes on things we saw. It wasn't just goal highlights. So I guess let's jump into that first. It ended up as a 3-1 Austin victory. I know you pretty much I think you caught the replay of this, so you weren't taking it in live. Overall, what were your overarching thoughts before we get into the lineup we saw and the results here?
It felt good, man. It felt good to get that one. I know I've been kind of poo-pooing the preseason as much as possible, but like you said, if we can get a victory, then we'll definitely take that. So it did feel good. The rust is still on there for me, getting back into the groove here of watching our boys go at it, but it is just an exciting time, to say the least.
Yeah, and we saw, the first matchup out there last Wednesday against Chicago Fire was the first time we saw an all first team 11 get out there on the pitch. And we saw that again in the first half against the Galaxy. There were 4 changes in that first half lineup from last Wednesday to Sunday. We saw Steph Cleveland in net for Brad Stuver. Matt Hedges came in for Julio Cascante. We'll talk about that in a moment. Owen Wolf was in there for Danny Pereira, and Hodder Obrian in there for Ethan Finley. So the remaining starters, Gally, Leo, Jean, Kolmanich, Alex Ring, Seba, Emmy, and Jassy Zardes up top at the 9. No Ricky Pooch on the other side. Diego Fagundes was in there alongside a number of other Galaxy starters. They started subbing off their guys a little bit earlier than Austin in this one, but getting ahead of myself here. First minute, you get a Matt Hedges pass out of the back, gets deflected, but falls to Seba. He gets it along to Rigoni down the left. His cross skips through the box. Hodder Obrian sends it over the bar. But Austin threatening right off the rip here. And then the second thing I noticed here is like Austin definitely defending in a 4-2-3-1.
Yes.
That's different, right? We've been 4-4-2 if I'm not mistaken in the vast majority. I want to say like 90-95% of games. And like a little bit of the high press in there, especially early. I to be honest, didn't watch it back twice and didn't watch it closely enough to try to figure out like what those triggers were, because they weren't doing this high press the entire 90. And you probably wouldn't expect that in a preseason match either way, but the defensive formation was certainly different. That was interesting to me. And then maybe a little bit, some different looks defensively here. Did you notice any of that?
I like the wrinkle, man. I like having a point man at that top of the defense to try to dictate where we're going to push them to a particular side. And maybe that's one of the triggers that we'll see is the dictation of pushing someone to the side. And then once they cross a certain line to get there. So I'm all for it. Like we said before, they're clearly experimenting with things, trying out some lineups and stuff like that. And we know that the focus and the emphasis this preseason thus far has been the defensive side of the ball. Josh has really put an emphasis on making sure that we know that we have a lot of things that we need to clean up on this side. And I think it was a good look. And you see some effectiveness. And like you said, right up from the rip, threatening. And, man, I just want to say Obrian, man, has been a consistent threat with that speed and just a caveat that we have not had on this roster since the very sparse time that Mackenzie Gaines saw.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It didn't take long for Austin to break through here either. It was back and forth through the first, half hour of this one. But in the 5th minute, Driussi steps in front of a wayward Galaxy pass, and he takes off down the left. Cheeky back heel to open up space for an overlapping Kolmanich, rather. Jean crosses it in with that strong left foot, and it kind of skips across the face of Gyasi Zardes. He can't quite get to it. We've never heard that before. It does get cleaned up by Hodder Obrian, though. Kind of trickles past the keeper there. So 5 minutes in, Austin with the lead. And that felt good for our first time, like really laying eyes on this team live to get one in there 5 minutes in.
Absolutely, man. It's just the threatening runners on either side. We're going to get into Jimmy and all that he's done in this offseason thus far and how we feel about him. But to be able to have two guys on that side who can really run with Seba, being able to distribute that. I mean, how many times have we seen like a Rabona from Seba that just like leads a guy into space, and now we have somebody who can go get that. So it was very encouraging.
Didn't take long, though, as is tradition for the Galaxy to equalize. They had taken most of the momentum over the last 5 minutes here, and we're in the 15th minute. They capitalize. Diego Fagundes gets into the box. The defense is collapsed on him, kind of right in the middle of the box, probably 10 yards out. He takes a shot. It gets deflected out to the left. And I think in a game that counts, I think John Gallagher is probably able to close this down a little bit quicker, maybe even clear the ball out, but kind of jogs out there. Galaxy able to whip it in, sweeping cross from left to right, and finds a wide open Galaxy player charging in on the back post. He pops it over Steph Cleveland with a little bit of power, and we're back. We're back even here. I wasn't super happy with the recovery defense there after like kind of scrambling around, like everybody picking somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
But it is preseason. And again, I think if that game counts, guys maybe sell out a little bit more. Maybe we're a little bit more crisp there. I will say in this first 45, Leo and Matt were not super impressive to me here. And watching that goal back on replay, if anybody is to fault there, I think it's those two guys not covering for Jean, because Jean picks up a man, and then the Galaxy player, I think Vivi was his last name, he streaks in behind that matchup. So I think we needed to have more communication there, starting with the center backs, but I'm just an idiot who's trying to learn soccer. So like, I don't really know what the breakdown is there, but it wasn't super inspiring, all things considered.
I mean, first part is this has become a trend, like this, like if it was a preseason game and what you're talking about here, where it's like we give up this goal right after scoring, then, it's a fluke kind of thing. And it's like, oh yeah, you can chalk it up to preseason. But after what happened last season, with the amount of times we just let teams get right back in that game with a quick goal is very concerning. And I don't even know who to place the majority of the blame on there, because it seems like everybody takes it down a gear after we score one. And there has been not enough evidence to be like, oh yeah, we can get away with that and we can do that. And it's like, you can't always flick that switch back on, and it's really upsetting and kind of concerning that this is also happening in these preseason games. Leo and Matt, both a little rusty, had the injuries, so dinged up. I understand if they're not going full tilt, particularly Matt. Leo, we can't afford by any means to lose. And another thing that Josh has been emphasizing is staying healthy and ensuring that we can go into this first part of this season as manned up as we possibly can. How about those game announcers though?
Yeah, so I think what that was, and there was a lot made about, the announcer, the commentator on this stream thought Matt Bersano was in net. It was Steph Cleveland. Never fixed that. Even for his own team, like I believe that was a Galaxy announcer.
Yeah.
Because I think it was they broadcast all of their games from Coachella, and that's how we, I believe, got ours streamed out there. It had to be both teams agreeing. So, yeah, the announcer, not preseason mode for everybody, I think. Couple of notes I had here. I did note Leo looking like he's in preseason mode, just a little bit sloppy to start that one. Owen had a nice little saucy move in the midfield to open up some space, started a break, ended up being, I think, a handball, I think, from Ring that kind of ended that possession there. So nothing came of it. But I have noticed Owen, man, like I know Coach Wolf talked about CJ coming in, just looking physically different, more ready, more mature in that manner. You look at Owen Wolf, man, he looks a lot older from, it was like, 4.5 months ago that we last saw this team. Like, again, that's what happens usually when you're 18 and 19 years old. Mm-hmm. But like, that's one thing that I think is maybe discounted in some circles, is that some of our young guys can physically mature in such a short amount of time. Like, I'm excited to see what Owen can do in whatever role he is in, whether it's, starting the majority of games, off the bench the majority of games. Like, just his progression is something that I think we should all have a keen eye on.
I mean, I said it 2 weeks ago, I think. I just said that even if those dudes don't improve talent-wise and skill-wise, which they should, they're going to physically develop and be more mature and therefore be more impactful out there on the pitch. So, I mean, it's just – like if Owen can be some sort of super sub where we can kind of move him around and be able to slot him into different positions, and it like his recovery defense is right now his best skill to me. Like that is where he truly excels. He tracks back to the ball so well, makes good plays on it. So like in situations, you can find plenty of times where we're going to need that. So I'm getting super excited about him in like a super sub role, as well as G. I think if these guys are like 20, 30 minute, kind of average dudes, like it's just really, it's really fun to think about.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's what, Owen Wolf always has the legs to get back on defense. That's one thing you can't knock him for sure.
Owen's always going to be overlooked, man. It's just a fact. Like Austin Rivers was on a pod the other night talking about Bronny playing with LeBron and stuff. And it is something that you have to deal with if you're the son, daughter of a coach or someone prolific or something like that. Like he will never get the credit that he deserves playing for Austin FC. It's just a fact. Like even we have forgotten about him, and we were the most supporters,
big Owen fans,
all last season. So it's like it won't happen. And I hope that he can just take that in stride and learn from it. And like it's not going to be that way everywhere he goes. Like he's not going to be playing for dad every single place he ends up. So
absolutely. 43rd minute here. Jean won a free kick about 8 yards outside the box just before half here. Emmy and Seba line up over it, and Seba takes the shot. It goes just wide of the near post, and that was something we were talking about, I think, last week or the episode before, where like who's going to step up with the free kicks, right? It was the Diego Rubio live stream, right? Because he's taking some free kicks. If Seba has that type of accuracy, so I know it didn't go in, but like that was one of the more threatening free kicks from outside of the box I've seen from Driussi in his 2.5 years or however long he's been here.
Mm-hmm.
That was encouraging.
It's odd, man. You just think he'd be way better at it. Like it really is just kind of peculiar because he's so talented and so skilled. But like that is one area of development for him this season. You know, like we have plenty of guys we talked about where it's like Danny controlling the emotions, Owen getting a little more tactical. With Seba, it's free kicks and leadership. Like those are the two areas that he can really take his game to the next level. Yeah.
And maybe, you know, he could very well be a much better free kick taker than we know and just didn't get the opportunities because we had Diego Fagundes, who's one of the best free kick takers in MLS. So I thought that was an encouraging thing to see. Austin came out with the same 11 in the second half. 49th minute, turn it over at the top of their own box. Luckily able to clear that out. And the Galaxy continued the pressure for the beginning of the second half there. 56th minute. Austin gaining a little momentum here. Hader Obrian almost breaks a long one. I thought he got fouled on this play, but probably not a call that's going to be made in preseason. Next possession, Seba finds some space. He fires a shot from distance that's parried away by Jonathan Bond, who was in net for the Galaxy. And then 64th minute, we get our first Austin FC subs. Sheikh Touré, Ethan Finley, and Hector Jimenez in for Jean Kolmanich. Good to see Jean going a little bit more than 60 minutes there. Hader Obrian and John Gallagher. Sheikh came in on the left, Hector Jimenez on the right this time. So it was, you know, like I said, I think the only takeaway there, good to see Kolmanich getting some real run minutes-wise.
That's good. The good thing to see is these preseason minutes for Hector. I love it.
Yeah, hey.
Are you Udonis Haslem just getting out there? And like I love seeing that.
73rd minute, Galaxy building up down the right here. Cuevas puts in a very nice cross to the back post, and Diego Fagundes puts it off the post. So we remain level, but nervy moment there for the Austin back line. After that ball goes out, we get more Austin subs. We get the debut of Diego Rubio, and we swap out both center backs. So Sal Mazzaferro, Antonio Gomez come in for Leo and Hedges, and obviously Rubio in for Zardes. 2 minutes left. Diego Fagundes again haunting the paint, as they would say in basketball. Like he wanted one in this matchup. Got free down the left, fires another shot, goes just over the bar. And that was really the last like super threatening moment out of the Galaxy, because Austin FC and their fresh legs here took advantage down the stretch. Again, Galaxy started subbing in some younger players as well. In the 78th minute, we get Jimmy Farkalun, Johan Valencia, and Danny Pereira. Oh, and Val Noel in here for Alex Ring, Seba, Emmy, and Owen Wolf. And then 82nd minute, man, corner kick, I believe. Danny Pereira taking that corner, which was a little bit interesting to me. Again, we've got a mash unit of players out there, a lot of FC2 guys out, so it may have just been a factor of that. But I think that's the first time I've seen Danny take a corner that I can remember. Ball kind of gets cleared out to the top. Sheikh Touré gets it on to Jimmy on the left, and Jimmy makes a quick 1v1 move towards the end line, sneaks it through past, I think it was Yoshida and Bond there near the net, and Diego Rubio slides and knocks it in. So he's less than 10 minutes on the pitch for Diego Rubio. He's got his first Austin FC goal, albeit in the preseason, and an assist for our second round pick. Love to see it.
That is awesome. And one thing we talked about with Jimmy there, man, when we saw the highlights, obviously we know their highlights. They're the best plays that he had. But he was consistently in attack mode and putting defenders on their heels and like going at these dudes. And he comes in, he makes an impact play right there, and Diego cleaning it up. We love that. I recalled from an interview with Josh that I listened to about him being kind of a poacher in front of the net, and that's awesome. I actually had a good buddy at the game, LAFC fan. Okay. So he goes, I see you boys are playing Carson. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's good. I like that. We play Frisco, so I love that little hate there. And he was really taken aback by Jimmy. He was like,
Really?
who is this kid? And I was like, oh, dude, yeah, that's our second round pick. Like, he's tough, man, you know. And he was like, dude, he looks really good out here. And I was like, all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had a couple other fans who I don't think were at Coachella, but like watching the highlights come out during this game of Farkarlun, and same kind of thing. Like, who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
He looks great. So in person, eye test. Watching on YouTube, eye test. It was a good performance, and made even better here. Right, 5 minutes later, Ethan Finley gets free down the right, so he beats everybody, gets to the end line, crosses it back, and Jimmy is sprinting down that left side, finishes it with the header into the ground, past the keeper. 3-1 victory for Austin FC. So Jimmy, goal and an assist. All 3 goals in this game come from crosses. All 3 goals in this game come from newcomers. We were feeling good on Sunday.
Yeah, man. What I say to you, 3 goals on 3 crosses. That's the perfect Austin FC game right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, Jimmy's giving these folks a decision to make. He's not making it easy on them for sure. I don't think he's part of the plan or was part of the plan for the first team. Mm-hmm. But he is really making it tough on these dudes right now with the way he's been playing.
So we did have, and this was one thing that maybe we should have mentioned off the top. We're going to go a little bit out of order. We've been going kind of chronologically on the last few episodes here. So we'll get to the Red Bulls game next. But Guilherme Biru arrived not just in the States, but was out with the team the day after we released last week's episode. So he was in training with the team, was warming up before this Galaxy match, ultimately did not play. CJ Fodre also back full with the team, did not play against the Galaxy. And then Julio Cascante did not play. And post-match, Coach Wolf confirmed our fears that he missed the game due to injury. And I'm not fully concerned about this yet. We'll talk about Red Bulls in a minute. Julio did not play today, but today was also mostly a rest day for the veteran players, given that NYCFC at Verde Hill coming up this Saturday.
Look, man. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, comparing to, really, we never want to overreact to preseason DNPs, even when they have an injury tag, like because Zardes in the first match, calf tightness. We were 0% worried about that. He's played in every match since then. That's managing the minutes throughout a preseason. You find that in any sport. But the fact that we didn't get Josh after the match kind of brushing it off like he did Zardes after that first one where he was like, oh, it's calf tightness, it's okay. He was like, Julio sat out with an injury and kind of ended it there. And the fact we haven't had an update yet, he did not play today. If he doesn't play Saturday, I'm worried. Because if we're already losing guys on that back line headed into the opener, it's not a great sign. Again, just hoping that it's minor. The sky is not falling even if he misses Saturday, because maybe he's not quite ready to get back out there, but then could be ready for the opener. But again, it's just, little red flag.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Particularly like what you said there, if he misses again, that is not what we're trying to see. I'm going to lean towards the staff being overly cautious with him, just given the history and our depth issues last year with injuries. But we can sound the alarm come Saturday.
Yeah, and then in that same post-match availability, I thought it was interesting that Coach Wolf, I think it was Phil West who asked the question about Jimmy Farkarlun and called him Jimmy, and Josh was like, "Who's that now?" and Phil was like, "Farkarlun, Bryant," and Josh was like, "Oh yeah, Bryant," and kind of had this little smile on his face. So I was like, okay, is he not going by Jimmy? We know he does go by Jimmy, but around the team, is he not? What's going on there? You look at the official team Twitter accounts, they call him Jimmy. Yeah. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but that was a little bit of a weird interaction there. I don't know if Josh doesn't want to call him by his nickname. I didn't get that, but it was just a little weird.
That is kind of, I remember listening to a Josh interview and he called him Brian. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. So let's let's just go ahead and talk about today's match as well. So we'll jump around a little bit in terms of the happenings of the last week, but taking on New York Red Bulls in the finale, our finale at the Coachella Valley Invitational. And as we had expected, or at least suggested this morning on our feeds, like given the timing of these three matches this week, it makes sense, or it made sense to us to really run the young guys for extended minutes here today and then have your dress rehearsal at home on Saturday. And so we did get a number of veterans playing minimal minutes here, but the starting 11 was certainly a full rotation here. You did get Stuver in net, back line of Hector, and Hector was playing on the right here. Shaik Touré was on the left. Gomez and Mazzaferro paired at the center back positions. You had Johan Valencia sitting deep at the 6, Danny Pereira in front of him, Val Noel at the 10 in front of him, Ethan Finley on the right, Jimmy on the left, and Micah Burton up top. So thoughts on that lineup? We can't read too much into any preseason lineup, especially this one, but it was interesting in a couple ways, which we'll talk about in a moment. But your thoughts there?
Oh, the youth movement. Glad to see those young guys get some time and stuff like that. Definitely not reading too much into it. Bouncing back on a Wednesday after playing Sunday in the preseason. Not the most ideal situation.
So Red Bulls didn't run their best 11, but they did have some out and out starters out there. Emil Forsberg, their big marquee signing in the offseason. He started, and in the clips we saw, he's as advertised. Austin gives up 2 early in this one. And we did get those clips from the Red Bulls Twitter account. And look, man, I don't know hardly anything about the kid. Haven't seen him. I know that we've been scored on a decent number of times when he's been back there this preseason. Antonio Gomez on these clips, the first 2 goals for Red Bulls. When they call him a trialist, I think that's for FC2. It is not like the way he's moving around out there. Yeah. And again, he's young. He's coming out of college, right? He's got some steps to take to get to this level, but you could see it on these clips. So
he's in over his head.
Yeah.
This is not the league for him right now. Doesn't mean it can't be, but you can tell when someone is should be on the pitch. And you know what I mean? Like it's a staggering kind of like look and it's been consistent.
They give up 2 fairly early, 12th minute. Wiki Carmona gets one, then Elias Manuel off a back heel in traffic from Forsberg. That was a pretty nice goal. And then Jimmy on the board again, sliding to meet an Ethan Finley cross. So almost a replay of what we saw on Sunday. Jimmy with his second goal in as many games, obviously had the assist on Sunday as well. So I still think it is unlikely, especially if he is taking up an international spot, that he gets a supplemental spot. But he's making a stronger case than I ever could have imagined.
I 100% agree. And like you see the way he's scoring now and the way that he's attacking, and this just signals to me that this was clearly a guy that we were after and on. Somebody who can get into the box and put crosses away. Yeah. Josh was probably jumping up and down. Like actually, no, he probably was. He probably taking his shirt off, waving that bitch jumping in the stands like he used to. Dude, he is balling right now. And I know it's preseason. I know I've put it in the place that I view it as, but the kid is really making a name for himself. And I hope we can find some way to ensure that he's around for a while.
I think he's going to be around, right? Because at the very least, he's FC2, probably game in, game out starter at this point, given his preseason performance. And look, man, he is definitely on the list of guys that if they're going to use an international spot on one of these younger prospect type players, he's top 3 for me. Him, Val, and Sal, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In some order. At the half, we did get 5 changes here. So Finley goes off, O'Brien comes on, Micah Burton goes off, Diego Rubio comes on, Danny off, Owen on, swap keepers, Steph Cleveland in for Brad Stuver, and then Rigoni comes on for the goal scorer, Jamie Farkarlun. And it doesn't take long. 2 goals in as many games. Diego Rubio levels it in the 60th minute. So, man, after how this match started and given the lineups we were running out there, I thought this might have gotten a little bit ugly in terms of scoreline, but back to where we started with a half hour to play. And then 8 minutes later, Hader Obrian off a deflection from the top of the box, kind of charging in, hits one from deep. Austin FC takes the 3-2 lead in the 68th minute. Again, it's preseason, but like we've said time and time again, we'd rather be winning these games and scoring goals and playing good defense than not. So this was again, not being able to see this match. It was encouraging that the team fought back and took the lead here for a few minutes.
Absolutely. And like you said, to the earlier part of the game there with the younger dudes up against that Red Bulls lineup, we didn't see the game, right? But the way that they play is a very aggressive, very challenging style to play against. And
especially us, we don't handle that well.
For sure. And we had the young dudes out there and we kind of weathered that. And then you see these 2 goals come here and it's just, it's fun to see Rubio, man. Like that is going to be sweet. Sweet.
Yep. Then it takes, again, 3 minutes later, we get a racist equalizer here. Dante Van Zier, 71st minute, levels the score line, and that is the final score. Final 15 minutes of this one, we did get 5 more subs. So Alex Ring came on for Johan Valencia, again, managing the minutes of the vast majority of these guys. I think Valencia with 75 minutes was the guy who played the most today. CJ Fodre made his return, comes on for Emi Rigoni in the 75th minute. So some of those veterans that came on at half only playing 25 here, or rather 30. That's math. Gally came on for Hector Jimenez. Jassy Zardes came in for Diego Rubio. And the preseason debut of Guilherme Biru comes on for Sheikh Touré. So again, finished it out 3-3. Win, loss, and a draw out there at Coachella. But I think the team probably, again, without seeing it, just the results on paper, the minutes we were able to get to guys, and no reported injuries to this point, it seems like the team, to me, got what they wanted out of today's match.
I agree. Absolutely. Staying healthy, priority 1. Yeah,
so let's move into the 2 signings that we got since we last convened here, Number 1, and this was, I believe, a Tom Bogert report on Monday morning. Austin FC, or rather, this was yesterday. This was Tuesday morning. Austin FC from Tom Bogert finalizing a deal to sign Danish right back Mikkel Desler. Desler, 28 years old, currently with Toulouse in France. Plan is for him to join in the summer on a free transfer when his contract expires. So obviously we've talked Desler before after that original report came out saying Austin would get him in the summer. Now confirmed. This Tom Bogert tweet reads to me like he got from his source, saw the paperwork coming through in the league office. Because again, in the global football, I think you can sign that pre-contract. So look, man, again, when you call the Diego Rubio signing a 10 out of 10, it's on paper, right? We don't know until we see it. This, to me, without knowing the salary, he's not going to be a DP, right? So, like, we're getting him for a relatively okay price already. In his prime, in Ligue 1, right? First division in France, Toulouse, not world beaters, but not in the relegation zone either. They're playing in the knockout rounds of the Europa League, starting, I believe, is either today or tomorrow. I've added Toulouse to my teams to follow on FOTMOB there because I want to watch some Desler.
Yeah.
Getting a guy like this, and when you compare his stats on FBref, like, you know, those little charts, you can get the comparison charts, like his comps are a lot of green, especially on the defensive metrics. And that's being compared to the big 5 leagues.
Yeah.
That ain't the next 10 leagues that you see the MLS guys. So like this, to me, again, like on paper, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
I would be hard pressed not to agree with you, man. Like a Ligue 1 guy getting over here without a fucking transfer fee, that alone is just ridiculous. So, you know, I will temper expectations for what he's going to be able to do in a different kind of style, different type of play, different league. But on paper, it's a 10 for me as well. And
mid-season summer signing, we know that guys can take a decent amount of time to get to a place where the coaching staff feels like they're ready. But given the pedigree of this player, especially with the depth chart at the position, what it is right now, I think this is a guy that finds his way into the starting lineup sooner rather than later. That contract is up on June 30th. I don't think we have the transfer window dates for the summer yet. If we do, we'll look them up down the road. Roster rules and regulations should be out by next week's episode, so we will peruse all of that good stuff, falling somewhere in between the Austin FC and the nonsense, of course, on the north end scale. Anything else you have to add on Desler for now? I can't wait for him to get here. And again, we have to see what the salary is, what the contract length is. But again, all the things on paper that we know now, that we can quantify now, I got no complaints. Nothing.
Yeah. Unless it's like 6 years, you can't fucking
right.
But he's 28. So, it's.
But it's not, right?
Of course it's not. It's not. So yeah, dude, I'm very excited for his arrival. That'll be something to look forward to. We're getting this dude, in game X. That's going to be sweet.
Yep. And this isn't a dude per se, not in the sense that you just used the word. But back-to-back days with Tommy Scoop's Austin FC tweets, kind of out of nowhere today, right around 4:15 Central. Tom Bogert tweets, sources, Austin FC finalizing deal to sign center back Brendan Hines-Ike, out of contract formerly with DC United. Hines-Ike is 29 years old. He made 46 appearances in his tenure with DC United. Source adds, and this is the key part to me as we break this down. Source adds, his deal is significantly less than what he was on last year with DC, which was, per the MLSPA, $467K. So let's first, if we can, hold off on that part just for a moment. Talk about the player here.
Mm-hmm.
This is very much CB4.
Yes, I was going to say I haven't seen anything about him. Don't know shit about him, but everything that other people have told me so far, he's a body. Yeah, and I want to pull up his transfer market because they do. I'm not a huge transfer market fan, but they do catalog injuries. So I know we can find that here. I'll find it as we go. 3 seasons with DC, like Bogert said, 46 appearances, only 12 appearances last year. Of course, DC United finished just above Austin FC in the Supporter Shield table. So, certainly better than the wooden spoon team that they were the year prior. Hines-Ike is, again, not some world beater. He's not going to come in and start a bunch of games, but I think it's quality MLS depth. Mm-hmm. And again, I guess now we can loop in that salary talk because significantly less on $467K to me says no higher than $250. Yep.
And the club we got smoke right after that tweet from Precourt. Then we got the press release, and it is a 1+1 contract. So we are not locked in to Hines-Ike more than this year. And that's what we love to see because the grand feast of Rodolfo Borrell is coming this coming winter. Yes. And the more 1+1 deals we get for players that profile like this, the better. This is, I cannot give this one a 10 out of 10, but I am very encouraged by the sources hinting at what the salary is going to be and the 1+1 nature of the contract.
Yep. These are just the appetizers right now that we've been getting because, like you said, the grand feast is definitely coming. Let's hope for the best with them, and I agree. I think it's like a 230 to 250 range, what he's probably going to come in at. With the struggles that we had last year and moving guys around, and I know that I said last time Alex Ring as CB4, let's fucking do it. It's always good to have these bodies in place in situations, and they're not Brandon Craig break in case of emergency.
Yeah, got to pay Gam to play him.
Yeah, got to pay Gam to play him. So
Oh man, I guess I need to learn more about navigating transfer market here and finding the injuries. I know that he was part of the 12 appearance number last year. I think was because he had one or two knocks that he dealt with throughout the season. But again, this is not a guy that we should have to count on if everything goes according to plan for any sort of major volume in terms of minutes.
Yes, I agree.
So pulling up the roster spots here, we added Hines-Ike to the senior roster. He is a domestic player on the roster here. I have added Mikhail Desler in that little light purple, summer signing purple. So,
nice.
and we've added him to the international list as well. But you'll notice that he is occupying spot 6 there, E. And that is because I'm adding Danny Pereira back to the international roster spot list. Number one, the club has not announced that he got his green card yet. So we cannot do that. As you know, a couple weeks ago, we got that report from Football Critic. And what I have heard from those guys updating me on it today a little bit is that there's kind of a paperwork snafu there, still expected to have his green card at some point, but it's not quite yet. So we're going to keep Danny on that international list for now. But with Desler reportedly coming on board, this fills up your senior spots. And you know what that tells me? Some of these dudes ain't lasting beyond that summer window.
Correct. They are not.
I mean, we have, it's probably a conversation for another time down the road. Once we get some games under our belt here and see, who that potential buyout guy could be. Because again, we still got Musa on this list. So like you would assume they're going to find a home for him. Desler can take that spot. Hopefully you're not using your buyout on Musa then, but it's going to be, it's adding a different type of intrigue for me to the summer window because those spots just aren't there like they were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. What are we doing with Bersano is the thing.
Yeah.
What are we doing there?
I don't know. I mean, a team that gets in a tough spot, in the season with their goalkeeping depth chart, I think we would certainly be a team that would offer him up, I would think.
Yeah.
Again, they still have that buyout. So as long as you can loan Gite for the last 6 months and not have to use that buyout on him, anybody could potentially be on the chopping block. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to I just wanted to kind of discuss that just for a minute here because I do think like my expectations of the summer window have not changed, but how we're going to get that done, that is different now.
How much can a buyout be? Is it whatever you want? As long as you're willing
Anybody.
To pay? Okay,
yeah, you get one per year. It's just, again, if the more expensive it gets, the less likely Anthony Precourt and friends are to be like, yeah, let's write that check.
For sure. For sure.
But we'll see.
Exciting
times. Roster being filled out. I also still think we're going to get a supplemental signing or two, whether it's one of those Austin FC 2-esque guys, or it's some other MLS veterans coming in here and taking the senior vet minimum deal. Still a little under as we're speaking. 10 days from this point right now, we will be at Q2 cheering on everybody's favorite team. So it is that close.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
All right, let's move through the last couple news items here in the Austin FC universe. We did get some information about some food and beverage changes at Q2 Stadium. Valentina's out. Black's Barbecue in. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like Valentina's a whole lot. So we don't venture to really many food places in the stadium, but that's one of the changes. I would encourage you to go to Verde All Day. Of course, that's Phil West's Substack. He wrote a little article up on the changes, so you can get more of that there. I did know I sent to you that they were going to, you're vegetarian. Vegetarian taco option right behind us in 123 this year. And you're like, I'm not a cauliflower guy. So
I'm not.
Yeah, well,
I'm not.
Yeah.
It just, after a while, it's like, fuck, man, I'm eating a whole head of cauliflower. And it's like, that's not the best.
I don't know. Just
There
being a
will
little
be pretzel review. Press review coming.
Okay. Is that a game one thing? We got to get
Game
press
one
review
coming, baby.
Okay.
The bar has been, it's an F. It's the worst. It cannot, if it gets worse, I don't know what I would do.
How can it be worse than that?
That's what I'm wondering, honestly. Probably. I also missed, yeah, exactly. Because I also missed an incredible goal.
You did. you did indeed. Today we did get the jersey numbers released by the team. I saw a number of fans who were upset that that Jimmy was not listed. Maybe soon, y'all. Maybe soon. But he's going to be in Austin one way or another.
They're selling Austin FC2 jerseys now, y'all.
They are, yeah. You can get your Jimmy jersey.
You can get your Jimmy. How soon do we start calling him Himmy?
Dude, people were doing that on Sunday.
That's too early, man.
I know.
It's too early. Okay. I want it to happen too. That's why I just brought it up. I want that to happen too, of course.
Yeah.
But we can't call him Himmy right now.
Yeah.
He'll get there.
No real surprises on this list, E. The three notables for me. We did have Guilherme Biru's number pegged on the crumbs the other day. 29 is his jersey number. Micah Burton picks up the number 32 kit this year for the first team. So good to see Micah, getting his first official number. They put this out just, the day before the new kit comes out. So if you're going out to the kit release party, you get that custom. You can get a Micah 32. You can get a Biru 29.
Yep.
Two numbers that are vacant. Number one, number 3 jersey is vacant. That's what Mikel Desler wears with Toulouse. So I think we're going to see Desler pick up the 3. Also, number 4 is vacant, and I believe that is the first time that 4 has been vacant for Austin FC, certainly in the last 2 years, because we yo-yoed from the top of the spectrum, Ruben Gabrielson wearing that, down to Kip Keller last year, and now going to be vacant heading into the season. So 2 numbers, if you like the kit numbers, just 2 numbers to keep your eye on there.
We can do it.
So again, if you're watching those kit numbers, right, like I kind of mentioned a couple minutes ago, jersey release party tomorrow night, or probably tonight when you're listening to this, on Thursday at ACL Live. Got our credentials ready for it. Ray Benson asleep at the wheel with William Beckman headlining a number of artists here. Kid Jones will be there. Lamurga de Austin will play. So doors at 6, performances start at 6:30. Certainly looking forward to it and getting our new kits. It's kind of an annual tradition here.
I am bummed that I will not be able to make it. It sounds like it's going to be fucking awesome. Local artists, which I love supporting. But shit. Yeah, I'm going to have to give you some money. Grab me one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into it. Started this segment last week. Every week we're going to talk about
the best keeper in the world.
Damian Loss out there with Louisville City FC. Continuing through their lengthy preseason slate, they took on Sacramento Republic of the USL last weekend. Damian came in, played the second half, did let one in, but Louisville secured the win. So Damian 2-0 since joining Louisville, not including the match that they drew with us. Louisville back in action. What's that?
Exempt.
Yeah, no, we at Q2 goals against Damian don't count. Not when he's not wearing Austin. He's wearing our jersey, we count him. Okay. Louisville back in action Thursday night. Tonight, if you're listening to this on drop day, they will take on St. Louis City. So that is a test that I'm very excited to keep an eye on. I'm definitely going to try to find a stream of that one if I can. And we'll talk about it next week. Greatest keeper in the world.
This is a great segment. I love it.
All right, let's use that as our pathway to last business day here. And I didn't see a ton about the first scrimmage for FC2 last. Outside of the score, took on Houston Christian, looked like a 1-1 draw this past Saturday. So good on those boys, going out there, certainly missing a couple pieces with all of the FC2 signees that we have with the first team out in California this week. Up next, St. Edward's University coming to St. David's Performance Center. That is on Saturday, so I'm hoping that we're going to have similar to what we had last year when we saw Kakute Mane player coaching against FC2, that we'll have first team on one side of the building, second team on the other, and we can watch the Toppers take on Austin FC2. Looking forward to that. In ex-player news, Captain Joe, moving on, signs with Las Vegas Lights FC of the USL, so a nice step up there for the former MLS Next Pro Best 11 winner, MLS Next Pro Cup champion, and again, former captain of Austin FC2, Joe Hafferty, reuniting with former Austin FC2 assistant coach, now the head coach in Las Vegas, Dennis Sanchez, out there. So that probably played a role in that signing. Our buddy, Thomas Viola, who's been on this podcast before, he lives in Vegas. He's a Las Vegas Lights FC fan, so we had some Joe Hafferty conversations the other day. Gave him a little scouting report.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Sad to see you go, Joe, but definitely happy for you. You couldn't stay there, brother.
Yep. Shout out to TV out there in Vegas as well. Academy update for the week. 13s, 14s, and 17s all defeat Houston Rangers this past weekend. The 15 score was not updated on the MLS Next site, so no result to report there. But hopefully it was a clean sweep for all four Academy teams out there in Houston this coming weekend. 13s and 14s will take on the Dallas Hornets on the road. 15s and 17s take on Central Texas rival Capital City SC at the pitch. So, we might have first team, second team, 15s and 17s on the turf field at the pitch. I might need to get a cherry picker just to watch all these games.
Man, that's awesome. They should do some sort of event like that where you have all those at centralized location. That's a great idea.
Right. Well, they could just unannounced. They're not advertising it as such, but I think that's what we're going to get here on Saturday morning. Fingers crossed for it. Cool. One piece of MLS news, not going to talk about personnel acquisitions or anything. We got to start keeping quiet, because Tuesday is the Verde Best Ball League draft. And we don't want to give too much information away about guys we're eyeing through the news, things like that. That's for our 5 opponents to pay attention to at this point. Looking forward to that next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central on our Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram feeds. But this is important news to every MLS team because it appears that the league will avoid a work stoppage between the officials and PRO. So no replacement referees looks like the outcome here. And that is, I see you breathing the sigh of relief. That is good for everybody involved.
That is very good for everybody involved. And man, I'm excited for best ball, getting the Verde pendant Bobcats in here, just like the Charlotte. That fresh meat, brother.
Yeah, maybe they can sign Blake Wesley. All right, let's do it. 53 minutes into this podcast episode, the return of the nonsense for 2024. We'll have the best ball draft next Tuesday. We'll have our team draft. We'll start our bets, our 2024 voyage off. We don't have to do much to improve on last year in that regard. But this week, Moon Tower did their over-unders last week, so that gives us the green light. We never really want to try to avoid repeating as many props as we have compared to theirs. I don't think we do 100% job at that this year, but we'll do our best. This is how we do it on the North End podcast, folks. If you weren't with us for this competition last year, we go head to head. Each of us brings 10 lines to ask the other over or under, and at the end of the season, end of the MLS regular season, rather, we go back, we see who had more points, and we do not build in a tiebreaker. It's an even number of props to each of us, and we actually had to use the tiebreaker last year, what was that again?
We did not. It was. Come on, they know what it was.
Yeah, okay. For those who may not have been tuned into that episode either, the tiebreaker was our fantasy football regular season matchup, which I won by, I think, like 200 points. Wasn't, I didn't quite beat you by that much in the championship, but, took a little sweep of the Lord Tolbert out of there. Enough of the fantasy football trash talk. Let's get to the over-unders. Since you lost last year, I will give you the choice. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to posit the first prop to you, sir?
I'll take the first one. Fire it at me.
All right.
First the ball, we're going to score.
All right, Kyle Shanahan.
Matt Hasselbeck.
Hey, just make sure you know the overtime rules. That's all I'm saying, San Francisco. First prop for you, E, of the 2024 over-under competition. The number of wins earned by Austin FC in league games from losing positions. This number was extremely high in 2022. It was 0 last year. So, E, the line for you, number of wins Austin FC earns from a losing position in league games is 2.5. Over or under?
Over.
Over. Starting off on a positive note. All right, what do you got for me?
I had, I was thinking about it. I had 3.5 before you said that. So
okay, nice.
Take the over there. All right, new acquisition, Diego Rubio goals. Line is 7.5.
Okay, so we've been talking around double digits, right?
Yeah.
He's got 2 in 2 appearances, abbreviated appearances in the preseason. But I don't want to dictate my projection on preseason because Tomas Pochettino and Rodney Redis exist, right? That said, 7.5 is a little low. I think 8, 9, 10 is right in that range. I will take the over.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty soft. It was the first one.
All right. Well, back to me here. And this will be a prop for our other striker. And this is the number of starts for Gyasi Zardes in league games. So 34 league games. The line is 14.5. So a little less than half the season. I know we've been talking about those guys splitting. 14.5 league games started by Gyasi Zardes.
Under.
Okay, he hits the under.
Got him at like 12.
Okay, all right. So under 14.5 there. Well, what's up next?
Oh, well, we'll stick with G. Gyasi goals, 5.5.
Ooh. That's a good line.
That's a good one.
6 goals last year.
6 goals last year.
We have been on record multiple times. We are not counting on him staying healthy throughout this season. Mm-hmm. He's got more competition now, I think, in Diego Rubio than he had with Maxi and Will Bruin last year. That said, I'm taking the over.
Woo! I love it.
And you know what that means? 14 combined goals from Rubio and Zardes this year. I'm all in, baby. Drinking that Verde Kool-Aid.
We'd be drinking a lot of Verde Kool-Aid at the game.
All right, next up for you, E. This is number of wins in external competition. So I'm not counting playoffs here. That is for Austin this year, Open Cup and Leagues Cup. You got a guaranteed 3 matches in there. No Champions League this year. This number last year was 2. You did get 1 win against Violette, the home leg. That was a win. And then beating New Mexico at home. But 1 less competition this year. Much tougher Leagues Cup draw. The line is set at 1.5 wins in external competitions.
Over.
Giving
us 2.
Okay. Any thoughts there? Like, wait, is that 2 Open Cup wins? Are we upsetting one of the teams in the leagues?
We're getting an upset in Leagues Cup.
Oh, all right. I like it.
Shock one of those teams.
I like it. All right. What's up next?
All right. Austin FC total points for the season. So win-loss draw, 46.5.
Oh, man. That's another good line.
I liked it.
All right. I'm going to do a little research on the fly here, E.
Okay.
Because, like I said the other day on the Designated Players podcast, went on there, previewed the Austin FC season with those guys. Last year, Austin, of course, missed the playoffs, 39 points. I've got us as the 7 seed right now in my Western Conference projections. I think I'm a little higher than most people. I've seen a lot of 8 to 12 range. And I saw fucking Doyle today putting out his bullshit, has us 28th. That is a heinous fucking projection. Yeah, it's absolutely horrid.
You better come on this pod, defend himself.
So I am going to take the under, and it's a slight under. The 7 seed last year was 46 points. So kind of hedging my bets there, right? You could still get the 7 and hit the under. So I will take the under on 46.5 points.
Okay.
Next up for you, the number of Austin FC2 players to earn short-term loan agreements with the first team in league games. So these guys have to, if obviously if Val or Jimmy or any of those guys are in the first team supplemental spot, they don't count for this. Guys who are on FC2 contracts who sign the short-term loan agreements don't have to appear, just sign those agreements. The line is 1.5.
Under.
Okay, I like that.
Snap
under. I like it.
Yep. I mean, you're talking, my brain's working, there's all kinds of configurations, models, algorithms running in the background. No, I think we're going to be a healthy team this year. And I don't think we're going to have to rely on those dudes. All right, let me hit you. All right, this line is one that I had last year. I think I set it at 2.5. But Austin MLS All-Stars, 1.5. Obviously, Johnny All-Star last year.
Yeah.
And number 10, if he's healthy.
Okay.
So 1.5.
All right, I will take a snap under there.
Fair.
Just because I think that it's tough for any team to get multiple All-Stars, especially Austin. And if we get 2 All-Stars, we're sun running to start the season. So I'll take that. But in our competition here, I will take the under on 1.5 All-Stars.
Yeah, I got to configure that one again.
Okay, next year.
Next year we'll go for it.
All right, next one for you, E. Number of goals in all competitions from the 4 true center backs currently on the first team roster. So Cascante, Hedges, Väisänen, and Hines-Ike signed today. All competitions. That number is set at 6.5 goals. I think that's a good line.
Yeah. I'm gonna go under.
Okay.
I hopefully we don't have to rely on a lot of center back offensive production that we have sometimes in the past here.
Yeah.
I think that number could have just been inflated from the Ruben season and how good he was that year.
Yeah. It was Julio that got. I think Julio had 4 goals that year. Ruben had 2. Yeah.
I just think the impact that Ruben had offensively from that. But yes, I'm sticking with my answer there.
Yeah. I think either side of that is fair, especially given the all comps caveat.
Yeah. All right. Number of coordinated fan protests against not social injustice issues.
Okay, so it has to be like a coordinated protest against the team.
Correct.
Against a player, a coach, something having to do with the team.
Yeah.
Player, coach, club, whatever.
Yes.
So if, I guess, and I get what you're getting at, but just to clarify, like a protest against gun violence in the South End does not count.
Unless someone on Austin FC can make
Okay.
Because obviously the Venn diagram with Cecilio is kind of overlapping there.
Yeah.
The social issue, but also a direct player issue. But
yeah,
we will cross the bridge if this does happen.
Right.
The line
we'll know.
Is 0.5. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna take the over.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
I'm gonna take the over. I think there's a number of folks just kind of frothing at the mouth, waiting for their chance to do something to protest the headman there. I just hope it does. I hope it doesn't come to that.
I really hope it doesn't come to that too, but I'm going to go with the mantra of summer is coming. It's the opposite of Game of Thrones here.
All right.
Summer is coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm taking the over regardless. So next one for you. Number of starts in all competitions for Stephen Cleveland, and that number is set at 3.5. So I think this is a low number, but let me just talk this through with you, right? Getting to this number. We've thought in the past that backup keepers would get Open Cup time, maybe Leagues Cup time, what have you. We have not seen that to this point. Stuver gets out there. These guys were trying to win last year, didn't have much success in any of those external competitions. But Stephen Cleveland is not like any backup keeper we have had here. And there's always the chance of injury as well. So 3.5 starts for Stephen Cleveland, all competitions.
Over
3.5. All right. What do you got?
I think there's two variables that I'm trying to take into consideration. One, Stu might be due for an injury, given how healthy he was last year.
Sure.
And two, if things are not going very well to start the season, I think you could see an early move, even if it was for a game or something, to Cleveland. Because like you talked about in this last line, like, Josh is going to be fighting for his job in this, there's going to be calls for his head almost immediately. So I think you could see that move, a pull, pretty soon.
So I feel like that setting that line, I feel like it's either going to end up at like 0 or 1 or like way 10. The fuck over.
Yeah. All right. Micah Burton caps 1.5.
Okay.
All competition.
All competitions. I'm going to go under because I think just inherently, we've talked about it, right? I think he spends the majority of his time with FC2 this year. And I'm going to take the under at the end of the season because I think if he goes over, that means that we are playing probably meaningless games. And again, like, I think this team is going to go after Open Cup, right? Oh, fuck. Well, hold on. We don't have a resolution on who's going to play an Open Cup quite yet between MLS and MLS Next Pro players.
That's true.
I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
Over 1.5 appearances.
Okay.
All right. Next one up for you. We talked about this a lot last year. Austin FC in the regular season was top 5 in big chances created per FOTMob. They were top 5 in big chances missed on FOTMob's model. So this question is big chances missed in league games per FOTMob's model. We have 46 big missed chances last year. My line is 41.5.
Over.
Okay. I don't like to hear that, but
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think you saw from those rankings and stats last year that there was a lot of teams that were actually also finishing. They were just creating a shitload of opportunities. So I'm banking on that we are still going to be missing some spots, but we're going to be scoring as well.
All right. I like it. I like that outlook on it.
There we go.
So,
all right.
What do you got?
We're going back to the well, baby, to the Rigoni.
Okay. Rigoni, bro?
Rigoni assists, 5.5.
Oh, over. Give me the over on that.
106 last year.
Well, shit, man. Now, like I said, I snap over that.
You did snap over that. That was interesting. And you already used your one mulligan for.
I only get one mulligan?
How many over-under mulligans you need?
I mean, it's not a mulligan. I just haven't locked it in yet.
Okay. Pat McAfee.
My only so what caused me to backtrack just a second there, backpedal, whatever you want to say.
You remembered who he was?
No.
Okay.
But maybe that's what it should have been.
That's the answer you're looking for, brother.
My thought was maybe he's gone in the summer.
Yep. Yeah, that's.
But I will take the L if that's the case. I will still go over, and only because MLS counts secondary assists. I think he provides too much service. I think we're going to be improved, like you said, on finishing those chances we create. He underperformed both his XG and his X assists last year, so I think he gets over that 5.5 number. Not by much, but I do think he goes over, especially if he's here all year.
Love it.
All right, coming down the stretch here. Next one for you. I believe we've got 3 left on each side. Most goals for Austin in a single match, all competitions, line is 4.5. Austin has scored 5 goals twice. They came in consecutive games to start the 2022 season. Most goals in a single match, all competitions. Most goals for, rather, in a single match, all competitions, 4.5.
Over.
Love it. Snap over. And I agree.
Give me one of those 5-goal games again at the Q, baby.
Yeah, why not?
Mainline that shit right into my vein. All right. Copa Tejas Cups.
Over.
0.5.
Yeah, over. We're winning that shit again. 3-peat, right, baby. The most important trophy there is.
That's the Austin FC Copa Tejas trophy.
All right. And this is an annual tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Number of home matches missed by E. All competitions. That line is set at 2.5.
COVID is back.
COVID is back.
It could be coming for me again.
Funny enough, E, just to provide my own commentary here on your attendance. I don't think that COVID is the number one threat to you. I don't really know what it is, but like,
no, I agree. I was gonna say you might have to chalk one up to just missing it.
Yeah. Oh shit! There's a game today.
Yeah, so definitely that's an over for sure. Jose will steal one of my tickets at some point in time. Go to the game in my stead.
All right, so over 2.5 on E absences in all comps for home matches this year.
It's called
2 more
management.
Yeah, two more from you to me. What do we got?
All right, team goals 55.5 Austin FC MLS games only.
55.5 in league games.
Yeah.
All right.
What were we at last year? 49?
49. Give me the over. Give me the over. And I'm going to say it's closer to 60 than 50, which I guess with 55.5, that's natural. That's math. I'm going to say it's closer to 60 than 55. How about that? Quick edits.
God, we're going to be so good.
We'll splice that out.
Team's going to be amazing.
Hey, we can score 60 goals. If we don't start giving up less than fucking 50, we ain't going anywhere.
Facts.
All right, last one from me to you, sir. We're combining the nonsense here. Finishing position for the North End podcast in the 2024 Best Ball League E. That line is set at 1.5. Are we winning or are we not winning?
I'll tell you, I was going to try to figure out which side I needed to take there. Yeah,
over is a win.
We're winning that shit. Come on, we got the newbies in there. Look, Texas Ring of Fire came on super strong last year. They had good second half. You can, when you get messy, that does happen. Yeah. But there's rumblings that there could be some dysfunction over there at the Mojo. There's rumblings. I've heard it.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Definitely winning that thing this year, baby. All right. Last one for you, my good sir. Summer transfers coming in 1.5.
Oh, including Desler?
No, not including Desler.
Okay. Or do you want to include Desler and raise it a point? 2.5?
Okay. 2.5.
Okay. I'm still going over.
All right. The feast.
Yeah. I mean,
great feast of Rodolfo Burrell.
We try to at times be a little bit tempered in our expectations, our reactions sometimes. Not on the over-unders 2 years in a row. A lot of overs there, a lot of pro Austin positions that we have taken. So I will say to you, sir, as reigning loser of 2023, whether it was over-unders, whether it was, fantasy football and the like, I wish you best of luck in our 2024 over-under contest.
And I to you, only because it's Valentine's Day. And I'm being
all right. Well, thank you again for the poem at the beginning of the episode, Ian. We thank everybody if you have stuck with us through that last 15 plus minutes of nonsense. See some people out on Verde Hill on Saturday. We'll see some friends. I'll see some friends tonight, whenever you're listening, at the kit release party. And then we'll see you all back here on Tuesday for the best ball draft. We'll see you on Wednesday for our regularly scheduled episode with guests, with more nonsense, previewing the first match of the season, less than 10 days away from being back at Soccer Church E. Anything else for you before we get out of here?
Yeah, we got something big coming for the people.
We do?
Yeah, we do. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. All right, everybody.
Y'all.
Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend. Hope to see you all over the next 10 days. And we'll see you back here next week on the North End Podcast. Until then, he is E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.